It's your boy Ancient Albatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects of AD or Alpha Dean. We have Anthony or Spiggs 18, and we have, of course, me, the Ancient Albatross, behind the scenes tonight. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch it over to Dean. Let him let you guys know what we're doing tonight. And just before I pass it over to Dean, be sure, if you haven't already, be sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. It helps our channel out a ton. But Dean, what are we doing here tonight?
Well, it's one of those good nights, man. We got friends, guests, colleague, all that great stuff hanging out here with us today. None other than the man behind Erik Frankhouse Presents. It is none other than Erik Frankhouse. And we're going to talk gaming and all sorts of other stuff. And we even got some news. We even got some great news coming up. And, I have to say it's going to be a pleasure because we're going to work with Erik. And we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But yeah, Erik's part of the team to get some stuff done.
Putting out the tweet right now that we're live. So yeah, I got it. When was the last time I was on, you guys?
It's been a minute, but when we gamed.
Okay, Reynolds, yeah. Claim the Sky.
Claim the Sky. When we played Claim the Sky.
Those that don't know, I'll give Erik a little more of a proper intro. Dean was all over the place. This is Erik Frankhouse, cartographer, streamer, man of many hats.
Many hats.
Been to our show before. You know Erik Frankhouse. He has EFP. He has a stream. He works for Norse Foundry. He does. He has streams for Norse Foundry. He runs actual plays for several different streaming services.
Yeah.
What's that? A 4-time IMGM winner, 6-time finalist.
Yeah, I quit counting when COVID happened.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 first and 13 top threes or something. I don't remember anymore. It's so much fun. But yeah, man, it's good to be here. I'm representing myself and Norse Foundry for this stream. We're getting ready to do a new stream coming up on Monday. We're gonna be talking a little bit about that. And I finally get to run Cypher for streaming. I've had to kind of finagle not running 5e because they really wanted me to do 5e for this show. I was like, no. Trust me, we want to do Cypher right now. Trust me. They're like, why? I'm like, I can't say why, but trust me, we want to be doing Cypher right now. And then, of course, all the news has dropped on what's going on with Cypher. And now they're like, okay, we'll listen to you from now on.
Yeah. That's another thing, too. The elephant in the room is the open gaming license.
Is it really an elephant anymore?
It's the talk of the town, especially on our server. We'll definitely go and touch on that topic.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
First, I think we'll do our main topic first because I don't know if anybody noticed, but we're kind of directly involved in that. So we'll definitely talk about that at the end. But we have Erik on twofold. One is because he's going to promote this awesome actual play stream called Warpaint.
It's going to be great.
Using Cypher System.
Yep.
For Norse Foundry.
Yep.
But I really want to talk about, because we want to talk Kaiju and Mecha in the Cypher System.
Yeah.
And how do we think it's gonna handle? Even though we know that there was a Mecha versus Kaiju book out, but
I've used that for reference too, actually.
Yeah.
That is one of the things in my saved PDF folio for when I'm doing design work, because they made that originally for Savage Worlds, I think, and then moved it over to Cypher. So I use that for reference as well. But yeah, man, there's not a lot of Mecha Kaiju stuff out there. There's not even a lot of video games based around it. But it was my childhood growing up.
I know personally, I know for a fact that Dean has messed around with sort of the Mecha version with Power Rangers, and I know that Al did as well. I just had a giant chicken in the game just recently, a giant mecha. But I think that's the
Did you really?
Yeah, you did.
System experience.
Oh man, why?
And
Because it was pretty cool.
I gotta say too, we're talking about this mecha versus kaiju about Warpaint, and I got to experience it.
Yeah, we did. Version I think
2.0, I think it was.
No, you guys were previous. You guys were version 0.2. We're on 1.8 now.
Nice.
And I laid it down for a little while, and now it's back because I think we actually combined the two things a little bit here. I originally was going to put this out under the license that was through Drive-Thru RPG and through Monte Cook Games at the same time, where you could still make stuff, but the cut was so large. I was like, I can't dedicate that much time to finishing this. It's just going to be something I love. And you guys, kindly left the piece open in Cypher, so I could kind of run things once in a while there and pick it up. And I've ran a few games through that, and I ran a ton of at home. And it's evolved because as Cypher went to Cypher Revised, I had to go back in and really start editing a lot of the rules and stuff, because I had to make all my own foci back then because you couldn't build your own fucking foci. And now you can. So now I'm like, all right, well, I got to scramble and wipe all that out and to put new verbiage in. But yeah, man, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to run.
It's one of the most fun games I've ever had playing Cypher. It really was evocative. It was immersive. Me and Al played together in that game, and it was complete crazy. The whole. Well, you know what? Before we start even talking about all of that, let's get into this. Tell us a little bit about Warpaint.
So let me give you the back of the box. Let me scroll down here. I got my doc open. Let me give you the back of the box for this. So Warpaint wages across the world we know right now. What's that?
All right, before you get into that, Warpaint is the setting. Is that the name of the stream?
That is the name of the micro setting right now. It is Warpaint. And the reason that it is that is because, it'll make sense in a second. Warpaint is the name of the setting, though. That is correct. Warpaint wages across the world we know right now in the year 3077. The hypertech setting throws humanity's desire to evolve against violent transhumanism cults and the invasion from the stars. The class of the colossal beasts rage through the new ultra states with people throwing support into their gigantic robot protectors and the rock star-like pilots behind them. Welcome to Warpaint, Hunter. Now go tech and fetch your hound. So the concept is you're a pilot, which is called a hunter, and you pilot a mecha known as a hound. You're part of a lodge, like a hunter's lodge with a den mother, and you play these AI-driven, or you play pilots in these AI-driven mecha. And I really wanted it to be a combination of the slice of life aspect that we see in so much of the mecha stuff. And behind the screens, we know it's like that because, it costs too much to keep mecha on screen the whole time. So in the 80s, you had all of this society surviving in Godzilla and shit like that. And I wanted to make sure I captured that with the pilot part, but had the mecha stuff be fast and furious. I didn't want 200 hit point creatures trying to battle it out when you're doing 246 damage before you do power shifts. I wanted it to be 4 rounds and you're out. An epic, grand narrative scale. And that's what was the goal for this. But the Warpaint is simple. If you ever watch NASCAR, the hounds and the hunters, their paint scheme matches because they're sponsored by the district that they are protecting. So Robot Jocks is a really big inspiration for this. If anyone remembers that old ass movie. Tiger and Bunny, the new anime that's out right now where they're superheroes, where you get voted on for what you're doing. Because the way you gain experience in this game, you actually have to do press conferences at the end to get your experience to level your pilot. So I've divided XP into 2 kind of broad categories. The one that you get for your pilot, you can do for everything. You can upgrade your mecha, you can buy gear, all the things you normally use experience for. But you can only use that experience to level your pilot, your hunter. And all the other experience you get, your intrusion and the new kaiju intrusion that I have, all that experience only goes to everything but the character. Because I wanted story arcs to really power leveling your character, along with the idea of the fame of being these pop star pilots. It's amazing.
Where did you come up with the idea for Warpaint?
So I grew up, most of my family, even though I don't look it, is Native American. And I wanted to mix my Southern family's love of NASCAR, but also to do the idea of going to war. Every culture has got a war paint that they wear when they go to war. Face paint, body paint, full-on tattoos, body modifications. And I really wanted to take the transhumanism part, since we see there's biohacking right now in our day and age where they're injecting stuff in their eyes to increase the ability to see at night. There is biohacking where they're putting magnetic stuff in it so you can feel magnetic fields. We have a very low level of it now, but we all love cyberpunk Ghost in the Shell. And I wanted to be able to merge those things together into this sci-fi super future where you get to play these kind of people, and you have gene splicing in this game and cybernetics in this game where you can splice yourself legally, and then there's illegal stuff where you're going and finding old Roman warriors and splicing their genome into you because they were like Greek or Roman gods.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I really had to look at power shifts, and that's the other thing that halted this because, well, I think 2 years ago I was on when Gods of the Fall, was that what it was that came out? And I was like, how the hell do you handle power shifts past 10 for your task level? I will never forget asking Bruce that question. He said, will you make it up to the table? I was like, no, I want an answer. But instead, I worked around it, and now we do everything. I mean, 10 to 15 or 11 to 15 is where you live in this game, a quarter of the game, because you start with 3 power shifts and you gain power shifts as you tier up your hound.
Right.
So what made you think of Cypher System for Warpaint? Was this your first choice?
No. First off, I was already playing Cypher for my big setting, which is Afontia, which is now transferred over to PF2. I've done Cypher for it. I may go back and put it in revised, but I need a really good crafting system because of that game. So I had to swap to a system. I believe systems should enhance the setting you're making, not contain the setting that you're making.
I agree.
And that's just part of my design philosophy as a whole. But I love Cypher. I'm an asset team manager for him. Like, I love Cypher. And for Warpaint, I knew that story was really the dominant aspect of what I wanted out of this, not combat. If I want a combat, I just go play Mech Warrior. Someone's already done it. Like, someone in chat mentioned it. I love Mech Warrior. But if I wanted, like, move 3 hexes, shoot missiles, long range, LRMs, I would play Mech Warrior. But I wanted the story to be important. So Cypher, just the way you make a character playing Numenera, was naturally perfect for it. You basically make your hunter by making your sentence. And from then on out, they added the story arcs, and that just enhanced what I wanted to do. I was also inspired by Marvel Heroics and how you got your XP in that game when I was designing that for this. But Cypher was just perfect. Combat's fast, it's quick. I think Impossible Vehicles is what started it. I think Impossible Vehicles came out.
Impossible.
I was like, but yeah, Impossible is what I said, right?
It sounded like you said possible vehicles.
No, Impossible Vehicles.
Oh, okay.
Which is perfect. And then I scrapped that and started doing something totally different anyway.
So now you have these huge mechs, right?
Yep.
You have huge ass kaiju.
Yep. Yeah. Transmongers. So if you have watched Power Rangers growing up, Godzilla, if you have watched
Pacific Rim,
and then Attack on Titan was a huge influence. The idea, a transmonger are people who are genetically modifying themselves to such an nth degree that they, as they are shape-shifting and shedding skin off, they can go from being a human-sized person to a full-size kaiju, and they're classed by scales. Kamen Rider, yeah, that's another one. I wanted it to be where they didn't happen instantaneously, though. I wanted them to have to earn it and build up so that when you're fighting them, sometimes it's a romp through like 5 districts, chasing them as a pilot, calling your mechs in on your Foxtail helicopters and dropping them, boarding those with jetpacks that continue the chase as this thing is growing inside of a building that it was hiding in, blowing the building apart, and you're chasing it through the city. Or you're trying to get to it before it gets the new genetic splice, the new genome that it wants to. For example, the Cult of Komodo, they want to have the poisonous bite, but they want to combine it with a spider's ability to shoot webbing, where their teeth launch out of their face and grapple people and pull them in. Got to do a new genome to do that. So you're hunting them down as they're doing that kind of stuff. And I have random generation for transmongers too.
One of the coolest things, and I think that's the coolest aspect of your concept, like if you could, what could you tell the audience, that whole idea, like when you talk about designing the monsters.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the monsters, I didn't want monsters to be everything we've seen on screen. So like we've seen, let me pull this up. We have seen so much. Look, it's a dragon. Look, it's a it's a crab creature, and I love that stuff. And Rita Repulsa was amazing at turning random objects into the most horrifying shit imaginable. And I wanted that aspect of it, but I wanted more. So you take right now, transmongers are not a playable thing currently. You could easily do it, but they're not right now because that's the expansion rules. They are the protagonist versus, that's what you're kind of handling right now. And some of them are good, but those are NPCs. They're like any bestiary creature that you would have in a Cypher book or a Numenera book. But I wanted to merge the idea of aspects of creatures and make those into attacks and defenses that you literally randomly pull together. And then each one of those random pulls you have will say the genome or the DNA that it's from. So if you get like the echolocation from a bat, it'll say, from a bat. So you know what physical aspects to add to the monsters. And as we watch werewolf shifts in movies, they'll start taking on canine-like aspects. They start taking on those aspects when the thing that causes them to transform, when they don't want to, or when they want to, starts changing them. And they start going through the states to go up. And basically, it's an increasing depletion roll. So the transformation roll is like a 1 in 6. And the next round, it's a 2 in 6. Or if you want to drag it out over scenes, it's this scene you roll, it's a 1 in 6. Next scene, it's a 2 in 6. So you don't know when it's going to happen. And there's a little bit of a randomness to it. Or a GM can force a GM intrusion and say, I'm shifting. And they have to spend experience to say, no, we're stopping them this way. And eventually it depletes their experience pool, stopping those people from hoarding their shit just to tier up. And you'll know who you are. You're probably in chat. You hoard your XP to hit tier 6 as fast as you can. It's not the point. So that's why I changed it up.
Since we're talking about Cypher, you mentioned in the Kaiju, what scale are we looking at? Are we looking at level 15? And,
level, like, what do you mean by that? Like difficulties?
And what are some of the tips and tricks? Scaling combat that high might be something that our audience is not used to. So do you have any like tips and tricks that you want to share?
Yeah.
Doing Kaiju level combat?
I think it's a common problem that GMs run into running anything when it gets out of people scale. When you start having to pull the camera further away from the scene that you're doing to encapsulate the whole thing, the grand scale part becomes a problem. But I will say this, and I know this is going to be a little against the grain. If you play miniature games like war games, you understand how to describe grand scale scenes better than someone who's used to just D&D focus 1v1, 1v5 combat. For me, the scaling aspect, there's two parts. There's the visual and storytelling aspect, but then there's the mechanic aspect. And that's where I think a lot of people get hung up because they grew up playing Palladium and having to deal with mega damage and the scaling aspect and all that kind of stuff. For this game, your normal scale for pilots stay within your normal limits of tasks that you would normally have. When you go into your mech or your kaiju scale combat, you're increasing by whatever the current power shift average is of your players, because really that's the difference. And in this game, you're not doing physical damage, you're attacking systems to turn them off. And I call this systems because you may fight other mecha as well, but you are doing things like if a kaiju's defense is 8 to start, their target number is 8 to start or 9 to start, you have to whittle their defenses down to be able to go for the kill shot, take them down. So at a 9, your group is doing combined efforts to strip defense, turn off powers that are super powerful, pin them under debris, launch them into space and power bomb them into a district. But you're working as a group to do it. And you do that by doing asset things together in formations. And formations allow you to go above and beyond your current limits. So if you've seen Claim the Sky or look through that, they have those kind of special effects things that you can do. This allows you to push and do those things, and you have formations you earn as a team as you keep going out and doing more. But my advice to running scale combat is, look, man, the destruction, if you want to focus in on all the death of the people when the building collapses, find a way that that's not a thing. In my game, for example, when they sense, for example, right now, we sense natural disasters. We have technology that lets you know earthquake is coming, hurricane's going to hit you, get the hell out of your place. It would be the same way if a kaiju is marching through the place. They have ways to detect that. So you warn them, and like part of your adventures can be the evacuation. And you can use the new book coming out from MCG to do that. But I break it into beats. I start with a pilot moment and a slice of life. I move it into a kaiju moment, and then I'll move it into their after. Or while they're fighting the kaiju, they may also have to do their press conference.
What I like about the way you described it to us, I don't know if you're still using that, because you were talking about the breakdown, but basically these were the phases of the story. So this was a nice thing to help with pacing. Something Anthony and I talk about all the time. So if you have to do these specific idioms, like you said, you have to do your press conference, you have to do the evacuation, you have to do the actual dealing with the kaiju. So let's just say you broke it down into those three aspects. You could actually have scenes within that. Yeah. And it was really cool because we had an expectation when we played your game. And so it gives you like this another piece of communication. But
you're giving them their sandbox. So
you're giving them the communication between you and the
GM. A game system is a love language between the GM and the players at the table to tell a story together. And you use the rules to speak that language together for yes and no to make the definitive answer. So you don't have the problem we had when we were doing play-by-post, where it was like, my guy does this. Well, my guy does one better. Well, my guy does another one better. Or that my dad's stronger than your dad argument. Well, we got rules that say that that's not the case. That's what that love language is for us to be able to talk that stuff. And you're right, the beats. So I tell people if you're running a 2 hour, a 3 hour, a 4 hour, for 2 hours, you should do an intro and 2 beats. And that last beat should be your end, like boom, and strong. 3, you should do a 3 beat with a minor intro or start with that beat, but you should do 3. At 4 hours, keep it at 3 beats, but then focus the spotlight a little bit more on different players. And I have a list of, I would say, Warpaint centric scenes that you can use as jumping off points, from having dinner around a hot dog stand after the destruction of a district.
So we'll be able to... Oh, go ahead, Dean.
I was just going to say, and that was something else we had talked about. Remember, we talked after the game and we had talked about prologues and epilogues.
Yep.
It just was a great way to engage your players as the GM. And it gives your players this weird agency that in the beginning, I don't think they understand. But it's an awesome agency. Like I said, we played that game early on, right after we met you at Gen Con, I believe.
Yeah, it was in like November, December, right after Gen Con.
Yeah, right after Gen Con. I remember that, and that's crazy that I remember that so vividly, because we were going on 5 years, but I remember that vividly. I remember that game because there was so many cool things. And Erik...
And cut. Learn to control the camera. Yeah. Learn to control the camera when you're running these big scenes. When you ask everybody, like, all right, is everybody good? Or you stop somebody like, and I'm cutting scene here. Yep. And you cut and you describe your camera change to the large scale, pan back, do the point of view from things that can see. So do it from a helicopter flying by from news, or your PR jockey's drone that is watching you to see if you're going against the sponsors. Do it from the TV screen of somebody at home. When you shift scale to really bring in the scale that you want to be in. And when you bring it back down to that pilot scale, like, talk about the silence in the room before the press conference, standing in front of the ultra screen, the blue screen, ready for your PR conference, or how your cockpit puts up noise canceling so that when you do this interview, they can't hear the combat of people screaming outside. Maybe your fans, or maybe it's a building that's on fire you now don't have time to get to as you're taking your press conference. Those things, you gotta encapsulate the moment, hand it to your players, and let them take narrative control to a point, because you said play in this bubble. If you want to go outside this bubble, we got to talk. But if you're inside this bubble, enjoy your moment. And that's how you build new GMs. That's how you get new people to run Cypher System. Let them have the mic and camera for a little bit. It makes all the difference in the world.
I mean, we're going to get to see all this in action for the Norse Foundry stream.
Yes.
What day is that exactly again?
It's going to be this coming Monday, 8 p.m. CST. The cast for it is the same three people who have been on all the other Norse Foundry stuff, which is one of my best friends, Andrew Statton. He is a SAG voice actor and actor. I've known him for over 20 years. On top of that, I have Diana Restrepo and Adam Kahn from the Dragons and Things Network. You've probably seen them on Phantom and back when it was Dragons and stuff, when they were sitting on the one couch together like that 70s show. Adam now is one of the people who helped run Dragons and Things Network. So him and I work together pretty closely. I just did Avatar for them, The Last Airbender. They're our main three. And then we're going to have a fourth person that's a guest star that comes in every couple of shows. Sometimes they'll be there for 3 shows if we can get a 3-show arc. Sometimes they'll be there for 2. And I really believe in bringing guest stars on to cross promote, but also to get a voice to just change things up for a while.
Do you have any idea how long this is going to run for?
I do. I can tell you this is going to be one of our longer set pieces. We usually do between 10 to 13, and it looks like this one's going to be in the 20s, like a full TV show series.
And the last question I'm going to ask is, for those that don't know what Norse Foundry is, could you just explain to us who exactly are Norse Foundry and what they do?
Do you like dice? Do you collect them?
Yeah.
Do you have a dice goblin in you? Do you use coins in your games?
5 metallic Norse Foundry dice I have right here.
Yeah. So here's the deal for Norse Foundry. Norse, I'm just contracting for them. I don't actually work for them, and I'm not on payroll like that. I'm just a contractor, but I've worked with them for a while. Their family, Drew and them who own it, are fantastic. I work shows with them, and he just constantly is making new stuff. But here's the deal. They don't make plastic dice. I don't know if they ever will. They do the zinc alloy ones. They do glass. They do a lot of natural stone. The new shattered glass dice. They also started making dice boxes that are low profile, so you can see your dice in them. So like the new glass dice are 2 glasses. One's lab grown, one's not. One of the dies, the glasses in this, actual glass, like Pyrex, you can dye. The other you can't. But they superheat them so they crack inside. So they do this. They do aircraft grade aluminum for like what you do for airplane rims for dice. And then we have rare shit like elkhorn and the little cat balls. They have like the bell in them and they like shift and move. We make cage dice out of that same aluminum. We have tungsten series, true silver. So they're known for doing that, but then they make really good dice cases, boxes, and basically any accessory you fucking need, to be honest.
Screens.
Yeah. So it's been cool working with them because I got cool stuff I get to hand out and I can actually care about what we're doing. Like if you use Athontia, they sponsor my show, Athontia. When you check out, it gives you 15% off. I'm not going to not do stuff with them. That would be ridiculous. And I run, to clarify, I am the network director for Norse Foundry. So like while I'm their contractor for that, I'm not payroll. Like I'm not getting W-2s. I'm getting the good old contractor ones.
And I can attest, I've actually won 2 Norse Foundry.
You have.
And remember we played the one game and they sent me these.
Oh, that's right. We did some of that. TPK Games gave us dice at one point, and Norse Foundry, I know Spiggs won dice, and then we also did one for TPK Games because I'm their art director, and that was the TPK Games dice. Yeah, you got TPK. Those are plastic. Those are not Norse Foundry.
Oh, okay.
Those are Norse Foundry are going to be glass and stone.
You know how you tell Norse Foundry dice? The casing is always freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They come in like either a metallic box or a wooden box.
This is Wenge.
Yeah.
This is Purple Heart. This is our new logo. That Fenrir logo we used for Cyberpunk for so long. It's now their logo for the 20-year anniversary, I think, or 10-year anniversary. Pretty cool. Not getting a W-2.
And it has the birthday logo too.
Yeah, so that's Warpaint. I can say like quickly behind the scenes, it's a document that is currently 37 pages, 20 pages, both, 2 columns. That is GM stuff, a special one, and 37 for public facing for the people playing. The people who are playing in our show, only one of them has played Cypher more than once. And then the other two only played during a demo that we did during October last year. So it's all new to them. So not only is this going to be a stream where I'm running a new setting that's never been seen, I have new bodies playing the game for the first time. Maybe I should claim that as an asset manager.
That's actually a good question to get into. I'm on the personal belief that Cypher actually lends well to streaming.
It does.
And it's funny, I've always known you as a streamer, Eric, ever since I've known you. You've been streaming games. This is your first time streaming Cypher, which I did not know until today. So could you explain to me, or maybe what your thought process, are you going to do anything different now that you're using a system like Cypher? We talked about pacing earlier, and pacing's huge.
The hardest part about this one is I work for a dice company, but I don't roll dice. I didn't tell them that part, but the rest of the cast is rolling for me, is how I say it. So they get to roll for me. So much so that I think I'm going to send them all the die I would roll and tell them when they do their defense rolls, they must roll that die to be an asshole. I thought about getting weighted dice as a joke, but I'm not going to. So for me, I think the big one for me is going to be how I am pacing GM intrusions. Normally I use GM intrusions when I feel they are appropriate to the scene and something that is going to be impactful. There's another layer now, though. I now have to add a layer of when the stream is starting to stall. I can use GM intrusions as a way to take the camera and take agency back, give the players a moment to process or shock value to not process. But I do heavily interactive shows where the audience is a big participant in my tabletop streams. So we use stream loot cards for that. Now I have to make stream loot cards. Well, thankfully, MCG is basically built for that. Cypher System has got cards. I can have NPC cards in there. I can have 1 through 20 as a card. I can have minor and major successes, even though they probably don't deserve it. I can give them that kind of stuff. I can have asset cards, Cypher cards. So there's all these things that I can put in that'll make stream loots really interactive. But the audience gets to do things like vote with points for what the kaiju has. And that takes me to the Wednesday show. This isn't a one show format. This is 2. On Wednesdays, transmongers will be on, and you're basically playing the Dr. Claw, Rita Repulsa behind the group that they are dealing with. And you're helping me make all the kaiju, build things with asset cards, like with actual cards, stream loot cards, help prep out the show. And then if they send like something after you, like ahead of time, because you know how players are, we're going to send drones after them, find out where they're at. You're going to get the role play that as a group and vote on how you want to handle things and do that, and send out your transmonger minions and people who are in your organization to fight them safely from the comfort of your own home. So that's going to be the second part of the show. And these shows are like 2.5 hours max, and we are out. I don't do over that.
Did you say the transmongers is going to be on Wednesdays?
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be at 5 p.m. CST. Usually starts about 5:30 as we wind up, let everybody get in and sit down.
And is that first one, since the first show was that Monday, so Wednesday will be the first transmonger?
No, I always do the first show for building stuff after I launch the show, so that Wednesday has a good taste for what we're doing. That following Wednesday, I basically teach them how to play. So when I did Blades in the Dark, I taught them how to play Blades in the Dark so they could do it successfully. The Wednesday following, so that basically Monday, we'll have the live show. Tuesday, we'll be off from Norse. I'll come back Wednesday and go, it's time to learn how to play this game. And I will teach them how to play and basically build little GMs to help me GM my Monday show by helping me build the content that I'm going to put forward to murder my Monday show. I mean, have fun with my Monday show.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. I mean, I had the privilege to watch a couple of the other streams. So I know the process. But
that's right, Serving Hands. Wednesday remembers.
I could definitely see why Cypher System would lend itself well to this format. Mm-hmm. But let's go to the other side of the spectrum.
Okay. How to kill players. All right. So what you do.
No, what I was going to ask was, how do you think Cypher System could not necessarily be a hindrance, but
A hurdle?
it's a hurdle for you to actually that you're not used to.
Well, the biggest thing is I got to teach everybody, right? So luckily I've done a lot of conventions. I've taught a lot of tables, but I have to teach everybody. And not only do I have to teach everybody, my cast has got to be comfortable enough to do it to where our entire show is not rules arguments. I refuse to have rules arguments on screen. I just won't do it. It's garbage. And when because people get locked in as players, they'll go, well, this rule says, and anyone who's played Cypher, transferring somebody from a rules heavy system has dealt with this. So that's the number one hurdle for me, is getting everyone comfortable, because there are some things that are hangups when you are teaching it. For example, the biggest one, effort and edge. Number one and number two hangup in Cypher.
I knew that was coming. Some way, somehow, every show gets some way.
Well,
somehow.
I just went through it again. We did our test for it on Sunday. I just went through it, and there was a pause, and they're like, "This may be a stupid question, but like, what is the difference between these two?" I'm like, think of effort as putting in effort. Think of edge as just a subtraction. So just call it sub or minus or whatever your brain functions as taking away from the total cost. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh God. So that's the problem with it. That's the first hurdle. And then GM intrusions. That is very odd. And then when you go, by the way, you can do player intrusions. That's even odder to them, because they're like, what do you mean I get to do players?
It's freaking cool. Get used to it.
Yeah. And once they got it, because I got lucky. So we did Blades in the Dark first and use stress, and you can do flashbacks. I allow flashbacks with XP, where you can do a flashback and be like, ooh, this would have been cool. Let's rewind to earlier that day. Perfect narrative. But I also, teaching people to spend their experience now hoarded is difficult, because no game teaches you to spend experience. So that's another hurdle. And I do it by forcing it for the first couple of times. I do things that are so bad they don't want the experience. And the best way to do it is group intrusions. You really want to deplete their XP? Do a group intrusion where everyone gets one or everyone needs to give me one. Yep. And I do things like, hey, I'm going to topple a building on top of your HQ. I know you guys just put like 10 XP into building that place up, but I'm going to crush it right now.
Do you think that are you anticipating your group to have a issue with the vagueness of skills?
There was a little bit of that in the beginning, especially from Drew, who comes from playing Pathfinder 2E with me. Again, I got lucky. We played Blades last. I didn't know I was doing Warpaint afterwards. I thought we were doing 5E. So they already came off of a very non-skill existent system into one that's very light. And the way I always open that statement is, you can do anything you want. Some things you're just better at. You're either trained or you're specialized, or you suck at it and you have an ability. And I have a player who's in that loves having characters with flaws. So he asked if he can take extra inability skills and be bad at stuff.
Oh, I love those players.
Yeah.
I love inabilities, period. I think they round out your character.
I think there should be 2 levels of them, though.
Yeah,
I think there should be inabilities and like god awfully bad, like inabilities and failures. So there's -1, -2, just like your bonuses. Now you got a 4-tier gap, but those should be really special. So we'll see.
See, now you know what, Eric. Now you know what you just said.
Really
that.
stuck at this.
You just said that, and now that's perfect. Now I got a whole idea to implement an aspect like that into the game, and then I'm going to start being able to run comedies. Because you can think about if you wanted to do a version of high anxiety, male versus high anxiety, and so you had high anxiety for one person, that would be their -2. You know, I can just see it. This is great.
It's like a more of a crippling inability than just a bad one. You see some of that if you think about it, like in the Doomed, you see it in that. Anytime Lucky and Doomed, where you get advantage and disadvantage, Lucky is the most broken descriptor in the game.
Yes, it is.
Should be a limited amount of days, or should cost you something. I think it should have a pool cost to it. That's just.
But you actually, Lucky is not the only one.
I know it's not, but it's the one that everyone grabs because it has the least amount of flaws.
I'm gonna tell you the other one that people grab a lot, and that's Foolish.
Foolish, yeah, that's the other one. Foolish is really really ridiculous. So to me, that's the thing. But I think hurdles wise, I'm going to get pretty lucky on this one. The biggest hurdle for me is not Cypher. It's teaching a new system along with a new setting that has new mechanics for kaiju. That is the hang up, because kaiju combat needs to go fast, and everyone is so used to doing damage in every game. Even this game is still damage. You're doing damage. You're doing health to people. There is none of that short of when I hit you and crit, or certain powers punch through and hit your pilot. But other than that, you're just doing system damages, and some weapons are better at it than others. So I had to rewrite power shifts, because power shifts that cause extra levels of damage don't work.
Gotcha.
So there's some little hurdles, but nothing more.
That's actually good. A good leeway into this question. For someone that doesn't necessarily understand or know much of the mecha kaiju genre, can you give us some good points of inspiration, or maybe where your inspiration for Warpaint, or just somebody that wants to get in the genre in general?
Yeah. One, don't run it until you watch some films. Do your damn homework. Two, if you have HBO right now, HBO Plus or whatever their subscription is, Max, almost every Godzilla movie is out there right now. If you want the pilot aspect of it, depending on how anime you want to go, you can go into Evangelion, you could go into that. My personal favorite is Big O. Big O is one of my favorite mecha things of all time. Big O, Showtime. Voltron is a good example, but you're not doing the form up thing. While that is an option you could do, and I run Ogre Force, which does do that. This isn't about that. This is more on the mech warrior, single people in piloting stuff. I would also say Robot Jocks. You got to watch Robot Jocks. You have to. You'll understand the level. Like from left to right, like East Coast to West Coast is one city, and it is built on top of the old city, ours right now. And it is all above it. Everything below is fall shelters. And I forgot about this. Session 0, when everyone makes their characters, you pick a state that we currently have in the United States, or if you're another country, pick that country. It doesn't matter. Pull up the Wikipedia page for every famous thing that has ever come out of that state. Names, people, you name it. And when you build your home game, you build your lodge around that area. You pick a famous building. It's now a lodge. Name it that. Like the Reznor Lodge was based out of where Trent Reznor was born, from 9 Inch Nails. And they were all emo group, very emo. And that was on purpose, like emo industrial. But you play up the satire of taking our world and putting it in there. The only things I recommend doing is do not do politics. Do not do real world religion. Leave those out of the satire. If you want that, go read 2000 AD. Watch Judge Dredd. But play on everything else that's funny. And if your group has the same political sense of humor, have that conversation at the beginning. But I'm telling you, that is a match that isn't lit, that is under dynamite. So be very careful when you use those two. There's a reason that bar etiquette is 101. No religion, no politics in my bar. That's what you do. And it's not that people don't want to talk about it. You just don't know everyone's point of view on it. But you talking about where the Beatles played or where Elvis died, that pop culture stuff is perfect.
And I'm going to say this. Robot Jocks.
Such a great bad movie.
It is. Oh my God. Yes. And it has the best fight scene ever.
Yeah, well, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Okay. But that was number one. Number two, you forgot Gundam. How can you be talking about this? Not
so here's the problem with Gundam. It's garbage. No, I'm just kidding. I love Gundam. You could do Gundam. So if I had to go through all of it, Gundam, Macross, those are really big. But things that are really fun,
baby.
Yeah,
Yes.
think Mecha plus religion plus Xenogears. I love Xenogears actually. But if you want to get into things that are easy to find, on the pilot level, Ghost in the Shell is the number one. The Laughing Man. Actually, the new series that just came out had a pretty good story in it. I don't love the animation, personal opinion, but I love the story. Laughing Man, one of the greatest anime stories of all time for cyberpunk stuff. Watch Johnny Mnemonic. Get that in your brain and that concept. Watch anything with transhumanism, people who shift. Watch werewolf movies. Watch that kind of stuff. People who want to improve themselves through genetic splicing and cybernetic ultra modifications. Do that. And then visually, even though no one liked the Ghost in the Shell movie, visually, that neon Tokyo is a really good example of some of the areas in the city. Like one of the mayors in our game was Burt Reynolds. And he lived in a flying condo that floated above his district. And he threw parties. And there was a random lottery to make it to one of Burt Reynolds' parties in his flying thing, like think Willy Wonka. But he ran them every month. So those are the things I'd recommend. Those are my favorite things for it. But just consume it.
Good point. What's the size of your mechs?
I think I use the standard ones primarily from the Cypher book. And the reason I did it is because I wanted a good base level, but they're usually around that 80 to 100 foot tall. Like they're big. They are railroad scale towns with large robots walking through them. Like that's how I would scale it. They are not the size of small buildings walking through. They're big. They're Godzilla. Now, transmongers are different. From low class to class S plus, those are based on level. So basically your 1 through 15 level creature. Those scale in size. Gurren Lagann, Pacific Rim, of course, obviously. That Pacific Rim animated that came out in the black, I think it was. That was really good. Good reference.
Just put another one up.
Yeah. Gurren Lagann. I like Gurren if you want something a little more silly. Also, I highly recommend Guyver.
But not the bio booster armor. They're not ready for that.
But I recommend Guyver, and I recommend the what was it? Ultraman animated that came out. Those kind of things are really good representations. Those are fun to consume.
Is actually up. They just put a new season.
Yep. It's only 6 episodes, but it was good. Those are good.
Before we cut into our other major announcement, right? Could you please repeat the time and date again?
So this Monday, 8 p.m. CST, we go live on Norse Foundry's Twitch. And then on Wednesday, we go live at 5 p.m. for Transmonger, which that is a working title. I may change it depending, because I don't know exactly what we're doing yet. I might name the bad guy. I might call it Overseer or something. I don't know yet. But that one will be on Wednesday. 3-person cast for the first episode. I don't think we're going to do a guest star because I want my cast to get comfortable. If I do have a guest star, it'll probably be Kelly from Athontia.
It's supposed to be me.
You said you work on Mondays and can't do Mondays. I asked both of you monkeys.
This is why I'm not complaining. Because
Dean's like, I'm gonna take a Monday off is what's gonna happen. And I want to play Warpaint.
I'm gonna take one of those, for
sick days. I'm taking a COVID day. So what's wrong? I have gene splicing. So those are the days, 8 p.m. Monday, 5 p.m. Wednesday. We go the first, second, and third week of every month. Or sorry, second, third, and fourth week of every month. Second, third, and fourth. We're off the first week. Second, third, and fourth week of every month to give the group a break. And yeah, man, it's the cast is amazing. The chemistry between them, I could not ask for a better chemistry. When we ran Aliens, insanity. Absolute insanity. And then I know we're going to get some cool guest stars.
I know it's really enjoyable. So
yeah. So let me mention some guest stars we've had in the past. Can I do that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you watch Perception Studios, the ones with the puppets, Cucumber came over and played an AI during Fenrir, who I reenacted Speed, and they were stuck in their tour van. Okay, that was fun. Athena Palmer, who was Ember Moon of WWE, she's now over on AEW. She was in the last series I just did. Her husband, Matt Palmer. Megan Caves, who does a bunch of stuff for DAT, now has her own company that she does stuff for, and she just did a Cyberpunk series using Savage Worlds. I'm hoping to get some people who have worked on other parts of Cypher, which I'm not going to say those names out loud, to come join for one of these. And then I have some voice actors that are going to be joining us that have done stuff for anime. So we're going to get some fun people who've never played tabletop before joining us. But for me, it's about introducing people who have not played that system to that system. So rarely, short of the first and second show, do I have anyone who's played the system before, ever. And then I try to sign them for 3, because then they can learn it, play it, enjoy it by the time they do all 3 of those episodes.
That sounds awesome.
So now you got to take the day off on a Monday night when your kid comes to bed and come play Warpaint. You can be a janitor.
And I know Al said that he's free on Monday, so he's interested as well.
Oh yeah, we can make that happen. We can make that happen.
And I think so that's Warpaint, guys. Definitely check it out. Mondays, definitely check out Norse Foundry. They're a phenomenal company. They do awesome dice work.
They try.
Well, and they sponsor Erik, so he's one of our favorite people on the planet. So definitely support the companies that support him.
Oh,
I think on a Cypher System note and a Monty Cook Games note, we all Cypher Unlimited. I think everyone knows the elephant in the room that Cypher.
That I made cyberware for this game finally, and you can have cyberware.
Not that news. There's some other news that Cypher Monty Cook Games just recently announced that they will soon, in a couple of months, soon be releasing an open gaming license for Cypher System products. We'll probably do a video either next week or the week after, totally breaking down what their version of the open gaming license actually is gonna be. And I know right now it's only a message, so we were kind of waiting for the official. We wanted to actually break down the official license itself. And for those that may have not known, we were actually mentioned quite a few times in both the messaging and all the advertisements afterwards, because we're one of the first companies that are actually attempting to do a Kickstarter.
To take advantage of it,
I'll let Dean really get into what our project is, but I want to say and announce here live on the air that I
also made gene therapy for work.
Erik has officially joined the Cypher Unlimited Kickstarter team for GM Roulette. He's going to be a fourth member doing pretty much everything. We're just going to sit back and go, Erik, go.
That is not true. That is not true at all.
This product.
I am here to fill in the gaps. That is what I'm here to do.
But we just wanted to announce that Erik Frankhouse is going to officially join the Cypher Unlimited team to handle this Kickstarter, and we couldn't be more happy, more excited to have such a competent and skilled in so many areas that we are not in. Just welcome Erik to the CU team.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I gotta say, we have been trying to work on a project as a 4-person group probably since the first Gen Con, where we drank our weight in whatever the hell it was.
Yes.
That's back when everyone was kind of living in the same state for y'all, right?
Yeah, we were all in New York. It was 2018. It was 2018. We were at that little bar. Jason he was there.
Yeah.
With that crazy Hawaiian shirt on.
Who introduced us?
Jason Dandy.
Was it Dandy?
Yeah, Dandy. See, Dandy knows my best friend from high school. And they were friends when Dandy was in Korea. Or Japan, Korea.
That's
Japan.
right.
And he introduced us, and it's like we were old friends. Because remember, me and you were like, who's gonna drink more?
For the one I'm talking about, Magus XLR, that is one of the best fun American animated, ridiculous. It's like if rednecks got mechs. It is so good.
It really is.
I have a GIF on my channel for him doing the flamethrower and all the weapons. So no, but anyway, I'm excited to do GM Roulette. Well, I've had the honor of playing it a couple times behind the scene. And do we talk about what's going on at all? Do we want to mention goals or
we can.
Breakdowns?
I will just say this, that we have some videos up on. I would say that's even a pre-alpha version of what the original.
It was a product and a dream.
Yeah, we've been working really hard behind the scenes, coming up with a bunch of, I think, very cool and innovative ways of taking the Cypher system in new directions that I think we're going to be very excited to show to everyone. Hopefully within a month or so, we'll open up a channel in the Cypher Unlimited Discord for playtesting for those that want to be involved in, early playtesting. But it's exciting. Dean, you want to add anything into this?
Yeah, well, so everybody understands, for those of you who don't know, GM Roulette is kind of our baby. It's crazy. I met these guys, and Anthony and I actually, and another friend of ours, literally came up with it the first night at Gen Con. And then we played it the next day. We played our first version. Absolutely awesome. So GM Roulette is nothing more than an exercise in improvisational storytelling, but everybody gets a turn at the GM station. It's a learning experience, but it's also so much fun. And the combination of the two, you know, it really helps you out as a GM because, you know, we're gonna give you, you know, a set way of handling GM position. These things are all going to come about. So it's really a learning, you know, to make you a stronger GM, but it's also a really a cool experience in of itself as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's a little more than the GM rotating. There's going to be so much more added into this product. It's going to be a complete box set where you'll be able to sit down and play a full 2 to 3 hour session with nothing.
It's open and go, man. Plug and play.
Yeah, it's plug and play.
Complete plug and play. You get your
everything will be provided for you. It's I think it's going to be a unique game using Cypher System, and we're going to be really excited to hopefully.
And we're going to rename Edge in Effort. No, I'm kidding. We're not.
We're gonna Erik and Dean.
Yeah, I could just see the argument at the table for like 6 hours. No, so I will say this: GM Roulette, when I first played, it reminded me of a more open version of being able to play at a game store, where like every time you go in to play an Adventure League, you get a new GM. But instead of it being a 6 hour time frame, where by the third hour you're like, I don't know if I want to play this game for 6 hours. You're in and out in 2. You have all your character sheets ready. You need a Cypher Core rulebook to do what you want, but we're helping you learn how to tell a story. And I think the best part of it is you're not just learning to tell a story. You're learning to pick up off of other people's stories and continue. It is playing telephone without a loss of concept.
right.
And it's so much fun, but we want to make sure we give you a good guidelines to make sure that you're doing improv at a fun way for everybody at the table. Because improv is not hard if you know the basics. And this allows you to do that through some inventive things that we're putting into it. I still am voting for the inside of the box having a spinner, but we'll see if that happens.
We'll have more information shortly. And once again, Erik, welcome to the team.
Thank you.
I think that was the worst kept secret amongst.
I didn't tell anybody.
I mean, you know how I love Erik. I'm like, I'm talking to Erik. Leave me alone.
I didn't. Yeah, his wife's like, I see. Did he get his ring yet? So I'm excited for it. I think it's also really good for streaming. That's the other thing I was going to say. Like bringing people on and streaming it, or going to other people's channels. How awesome would it be just to go in for our interviews when we do interviews for this and go, we're just going to play one round. We're going to play one round. I'll GM, you guys can play characters, or you'll GM and I'll play characters, whatever it is you want to do. And we're going to play one turn for part of an interview. Like for those hour-long interviews, instead of an hour of questions, go, let's just show you.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing way to show how this game works, because it's that easy. It really, really is that easy.
And that's the thing. Here's another aspect of it. With Erik just saying that, this is just something else that I thought about. And we might have to implement it. So I can't really tell him what I thought about.
No, be quiet. Put it in our chat.
That's what I'm saying. I'll tell you guys, but it's gonna be pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Company secrets. 5
seconds. You see, I didn't. I
didn't give any company secrets away. Don't you worry.
He just started making me think of stuff.
Although I do not have rings on, so that's disappointing.
And
so
if you want to see an early version of go to our YouTube channel and just type in GM Roulette. We have a plethora of great streamers that actually joined us on the early concept. But just bear in mind that that's sort of it's the basic bare bones concept of the game.
Mm-hmm.
We've added a ton of rules and mechanics. Like there's a ton of new unique mechanics to this game alone. Yep. So, and we think they're really cool. So check those out. But Erik, thank you so much for
coming on for sure.
Thank you so much for helping us out with GM Roulette and last but not least, thank you so much for being a friend. Thank you.
It's been a long COVID apart, my friend. It's been a long COVID apart. Gen Con. We'll see you at Gen Con.
You'll see
I
me.
will not be at Gen Con, but we will be at Game Con.
I'll see the important person at Gen Con.
Yeah,
The one who will give me a ring, unlike the one below me. So, or above me. So no, I think that's gonna be awesome. Gen Con, and then can we say the other one?
Game Con. I think we've sort of touched on this, but we will have a big input.
Ready?
Oh, did I cut you off?
Thank you. No, that was very kind
We
of you.
will have a big imprint at Cypher Unlimited at Game Con. We're probably going to have a booth at the MCG booth, and we're going to be doing some really cool things. Hopefully, we'll be showcasing GM Roulette, at least in its
I'll run Warpaint there, I promise.
early stage, but we could definitely run Warpaint. We could definitely run some other
Warpaint.
games. But okay.
We should stream there.
Yeah,
live
well,
from there.
that's part of the plan is to stream there.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, everybody out there, from Cypher Unlimited, you guys are really great, and we really couldn't do this without you.
No.
A lot of what we're doing here is really because of you. Thanks for continuing to come and hang out with us. Thanks for listening to what we have to say, and giving us a place to have a voice.
You guys have almost 4,000 people in Discord because of them. And on top of that, MCG went, we should probably just make this the official Discord. Like, that is because of the community.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I love these guys. I love Cypher, and love the community we have.
And that guy behind the camera who's sleeping right now.
And if you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord server. It's the largest fan-run Discord server for all things Monica games. We have games being run daily. Yes, I said daily. People chatting about every setting and genre and game that MCG produced. And who knows, maybe we could get Erik on to do some on Warpaint. He did the original Warpaint there. So maybe we can get him to come back. But if Discord's not for you, join our Facebook group. It's not as big as our Discord, but there's still great conversations being had. If you want to support us in small ways, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, or give us a follow or sub here on Twitch. We greatly appreciate it. Our videos are always free, but they help us out with little things like Zoom course. If you want to donate to us on Ko-fi, we really appreciate that as well. Or visit our online store and pick up some cool Cypher Unlimited merch. Maybe we'll get some Warpaint t-shirts up on there. We could definitely do that as well.
I can tell you I'm already making some.
And last but not least, we love you guys.
Bye, everybody. See you Monday.
Monday. And then
Monday.
Wednesday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I'm on. Afonso is back too, baby.
All right, well, good night, everybody.
Come on, Al. See you sleep until you're coming back on.
No, I was waiting for someone to say, and Al want to sign us out. But anyways, here I am. And thank you guys for stopping by. And from us at the CU, we will see you guys next week. Have a great night.
Guys.
Bye, guys.
Clown.